distinguished executives and members of the Turkey-U.S. Business Council. I mean, this is an important week for the cooperation between our two nations. Since last Thursday, when we arrived here to attend G20, World Bank and IMF meetings, my team and I held a series of meetings. We had productive ones with many of the international financial institutions. Moreover, Treasury Secretary Mr. Steve Mnuchin and I discussed lots of different topics, including steps to further strengthen the economic cooperation between our two nations as well. And this morning I have had very productive and fruitful talks on White House with my counterparts, including this all economical targets, trade targets between Turkey and U.S., which is supposed to be, the presidents agreed around $75 billion as well. Tomorrow the talks will continue as well, and weekly by weekly we are going to expand the subgroups to reach these targets with our ministers Rusar Pekcan and Mr. Wilbur Ross and my counterparts as well. So doing pretty well, doing fine, so far so good. It's a very historic, especially challenging time-wise. It's a very historic visit from my side, and thankfully so far so good again. This high level of participation from Turkey attests to the importance we attach to this meeting and within its framework to taking our bilateral cooperation to the next level and our determination to accomplish that goal. We are going through a time of unprecedented change at all levels throughout the globe. The international system is being challenged from all sides by economic, political, and social forces, rising set of challenges and threats that they have no choice but to adapt to the new circumstances rapidly. This is very much important. Today, we are facing rising protectionism, re-emerging nationalism, and far-right populism push for less transnational cooperation. The system, in one sense, is testing the sustainability of cooperation among states and endurance of alliances. In fact, the emerging system is creating more threats and transnational challenges, generating circumstances that impede cooperation and weakening existing ties between states all at the same time. Turkish-American relations are also being tested by this changing international environment. In recent years, the Turkish-American alliance has faced multiple challenges. As the United States seeks to redefine its global role and its regional posture, Turkey has been seeking to protect its national interests in all areas in an increasingly difficult and evolving neighborhood. Yeah, you know about the region, not the best, one of the best regions in the global arena, especially when you're neighboring with Iran, Iraq, and Syria, just like all the time how it says. Tell me about it. The historical depth and institutional strength of the security alliance between our countries within the framework of NATO continue to be the linchpin of the bilateral relations. This is not a days or months or years of relationship. Almost 70 years we are talking about. Starting from 1950s, right, with the Korean War, Turkey spent not only workforce, but human resource on that sense as well. However, the new security threats and the new geopolitical and geoeconomic risks in the region necessitate a diversification of cooperation between our countries. In bilateral tensions over the course of the last decade, the Turkish and American leaders have been actively involved in resolving these crises. After every summit between the leaders, the message has been for stronger cooperation, strategic partnership, and continuation of dialogue in that sense. However, in the last few years, the developments in the Middle East and its aftershocks made the relation less stable than our leaders aspired, especially within the understanding of the previous U.S. administration. Not this one. We have seen so many examples on that. From the very beginning of the crisis in Syria, we have expressed our willingness to work with the US to resolve the crisis in this country. We have warned the international community about its potential spillover effects. Since then, it generated the worst humanitarian crisis just after the Second World War. Produced a destroyed country that needs to be reconstructed and became a hotbed of international terrorism and foreign terrorist fighters. Now, following the decision of President Trump to withdraw from Syria, we have another opportunity to compensate this years-long damage in our relations. If the negotiations between Turkey and the US on safe zone generates a working relationship between the two countries, it will be the first real cooperation on the ground between the two countries' security forces. It should be the responsibility of our governments to impede the efforts of any actors to prevent such cooperation. Turkey's national security, just like every other country, is sacrosanct. Turkey will take every step to deter and prevent any attack from any other group or actor in the region to its people and security forces. The Syrian conflict has taught us many lessons in regards to handling humanitarian and security crises. We recognize that we have serious differences over a variety of issues. However, we have to address them through a meaningful and sustained dialogue. We need to strengthen our resilient partnership despite our policy disagreements. Punitive measures have never helped our relationship, and nor have they been successful. We need our friends on this side of the Atlantic to take our concerns sincerely and seriously. Gatherings like these should serve as a great opportunity to understand each other. No alliance can survive the challenges of times without a serious effort to nurture it. Turkish-American alliance is no exception. It has survived decades of challenges since the Second World War, but we all know it is not easy. And it will not be easy in the future as well, for sure. It falls on our shoulders to make sure that our disagreements do not determine the nature of our relationship. We think there are many areas that we can work together. Regardless of our differences on some matters, we have a great potential to strengthen our economic ties. In the economic sphere, our relationship has never realized its true potential. The volume of trade between the two countries is very low compared to diplomatic and strategic dimensions of our relations. The need to improve our trade ties has been mentioned many times, but we have yet to devote serious effort and focus to it. It's no coincidence that President Erdogan and President Trump have been consistently referring to the economic ties in every single face-to-face meetings or phone conversations. I am one of the persons just next to these calls and conversations, and significant amount of examples I could tell you as a witness. Our leaders are committed to it, and we have to work on this missing link. Our economic ties have to be just as robust as our traditional security partnership. It should be the main stabilizer in the bilateral ties. Business people should be part of the strategic cooperation between two states. They should play a more active role in determining the future relationship between two countries. I realize this is easier said than done. But I want to assure all of you that this is our vision. This is my vision, this is my government's vision. Dear friends, we need to be realistic about our ability to bridge the gaps and resolve the disputes between two countries. Yet, we need to strive toward a healthier relationship where both sides are attentive to the legitimate concerns of each other. In an environment of such vast change as our time, it is critically important for us to invest in our long-term common interests to build a better future. The world is changing and forcing us to take a serious look at the current state of our partnership. We must work on building a mutually beneficial relationship with a vision to deepen our alliance. We shouldn't allow problems to prevent us from looking to the future with a positive outlook. Let us avoid threats of sanctions and games of brinkmanship and work on creating a realistic and a positive agenda. Finally, I would like to share our economic policies and objectives with this beautiful, distinguished group of business people with you. There probably has never been a better time to invest in Turkey than today. With election-free next 4.5 years on the ground, and a strong government steadfast in its commitment to an ambitious agenda of economic transformation, Turkey offers amazing opportunities for all investors in all stripes. Since we set out with the new economic program last autumn, we have acted swiftly and in cooperation with the central bank to achieve price stability in order to help the economy transition to a sustainable growth path. With the structural transformation steps announced this week for the rest of the year, we are now in a position to pursue a complementary mix of policy actions to improve the economic outlook in the near term, as well as structural changes to increase our growth potential in the long term. Our overarching goal is to increase predictability and reduce policy uncertainty for businesses and investors. Informed observers know that we have the necessary political backing and time frame to deliver on our promises. Our banking system is well capitalized, and it continues to provide uninterrupted flow of credit to deserving businesses. But we remain vigilant, and we are taking precautionary steps to maintain the system's resilience to external shocks. State-owned banks will receive new capital injections. Private banks will retain earnings in addition to having contingency plans to replenish capital if necessary, which a couple of them has already started and finished their capital injection as well. Our strong fiscal balance sheet provides us with confidence as we work towards reestablishing growth in the second half of 2019, but that will only be the beginning for this transformational change. We will undertake a significant transformation of our tax code later this year. There will be lots of other transformational steps announced by various ministries in this month, which we have announced this transformational change. The Ministry of Industry and Technology will outline an initiative in May that will target the domestic production of key industrial components to reduce imports, which will be announcing this May around more than 300 units of different products in this localization strategy, which each unit of it will be announced from the minister. In August, the Ministry of Trade, Ruslan, I think latest August, I think it will be much maybe earlier than that, will announce a plan that will focus on developing new markets for exports. The Ministry of Tourism will unveil a master plan in September. I think it's going to be maybe earlier than September, to double our tourism revenues over the next 4 years. The target will be 70 million tourists to $70 billion by 2023. The Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure will set a vision for becoming the logistics hub, which naturally it's a logistics hub, but according to all the data provided globally within that sense, 16 years of all infrastructural investment this government has made, including airway, highway, railway, seaway, all of it. Huge amount of investment already has been completed, and within this strategic coordination of this logistics center strategy, it will be a very much competitive base that Turkey have within this global challenging environment. Many other issues, including the future solvency of the social security system and the effective function of the judicial system, will start to be addressed before the year's end. All of this will set us on a solid path leading up to the centennial of our republic in 2023. Turkey is deeply committed to maintaining and defending its free market system, the primacy of the rule of law, and the light of universal human rights. We are excited about the opportunities that lie ahead, and we welcome everyone who wants to be a partner in Turkey and joining this journey with us. That is to say, Turkey is open for business. It is important to us that American companies, for sure, become part of this process. Let us take our relations, starting with our trade cooperation, to the next level. Let us save our relationship from a setback which will take time to reverse and repair, with an emphasis on empathy, dialogue, and our shared goals. Once again, I would like to thank Turkey-US Business Council for hosting this extraordinary event, which I have been attending these